That was a pretty big.
20 seconds.
They made a pretty big
Should
motion.
have gone in and printed it off for it. Would be quicker.
All those revisions of those.
It's a few pages. It might take a
Right.
while to kick them all out.
Okay, we're up. Scott, if you would take roll.
Marvin Cusick,
Here.
Cole Reen,
Here.
Walker Henson,
Here.
Michael O'Brien,
Here.
David Trojan. Here. Brian Henry, Greg Hobb. Here. Donald Roberts. Here. David Henneke,
Here.
Clarence Maley,
Here.
Scott Orr.
Here.
You have a quorum.
We have a quorum, so I hereby call this meeting to order. This is the October meeting of the MAPC. First item on the agenda is to consider two sets of minutes, one for July the 15th and one for August 28th. First of all, July 15th.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for July the 15th. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. And now the August 28th.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve August 28th's special MAPC meeting minutes. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'm going to abstain because I was not.
Okay. And Mr. Ream will abstain.
Who made the motion? Thank you.
First item on the regular agenda is zoning. Hold a public hearing and consider a request to rezone the property located at 605 West Spruce Avenue from R4 residential duplex or two-family dwelling district to R4 residential duplex or two-family dwelling district with a PUD overlay, and make recommendation to the mayor and board of commissioners.
All right, well, if you remember a few months ago, we were looking at ideas and options for manufactured housing, and we created a few overlay districts and also made the option that existing R4 zone properties could go through this process if they wanted to try this option and find out if it was appropriate for them to build manufactured housing. So we followed our procedures and put out a 20-day notice like we do with any zoning change. We did all of our postings. We got all those out on time. This is where the property is located, 605 West Spruce. You'll notice this property does meet the minimum size requirement. It does have access to water and sewer. The street's right there in front of it. It's zoned R4 already, so it meets all of the qualifications that it needed to. The applicants presented a plan to us. They created their own PUD statement. It's all attached on your plans there. What they're wanting to do is live close to some family, and this is an affordable means to do that, to build a house. So this is kind of the layout of what they want to do on their home. Big porch up front, they're meeting all of our setback requirements. The minimum size is pretty small that we had, but I think this particular model that they've chosen is nearly 2,000 square feet. It'll be a large home and it'll fit nicely on the property within the setbacks. This is a rendering of the model that they've chosen. And then, as you recall, one of the requirements of a residential manufactured home would be that they need to have a porch on it. And they have chosen to build out a custom porch. And this is the picture that they showed us of what they would like to build on the front of that home. So that's the closest we can come is what this is going to look like when it's finished. So again, they've met the requirements in the ordinance that was passed. The applicants are here, and I believe this is a hearing, so if there's anyone else from the neighborhood that signed up or otherwise has comments or questions, they can come up and talk about it.
As far as you know, has anybody objected or filed any kind of an objection?
I haven't
Neighbors.
heard any objection to it. I haven't received any letters.
Because I know they give notice to everybody within 300 feet, and so.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to that?
If you would, please state your name.
My name is Ashley Hedges, and I'm talking on behalf of Charles Hedges, the property owner of 621 West Spruce. My grandfather bought this property of the corner of Spruce and Marone, knowing that manufactured homes are not zoned in his neighborhood. My grandfather and father have spent 2 years building his house hand themselves and following all local and state building codes, as well as all the other houses in this neighborhood. Manufactured homes are not required to follow the same state and local codes. So why should one single lot out of this whole entire neighborhood be able to bypass these state and local codes to save money when no other resident in this neighborhood was allowed to? A manufactured home is not taxed as the same as a permanent resident. A manufactured home is taxed as an automobile and not as a permanent home. So they will be paying lower property tax than everyone else in this neighborhood. They are not placed on a permanent foundation. They are built on a chassis and made to be able to move and placed on blocks or piers, which leaves the whole undercarriage accessible to rodents such as possums, raccoons, and cats, which is a big problem in this neighborhood. We understand that in all certain situations, the city would like to rezone areas to allow manufactured homes like they are wanting to do in Ward 2. In cases like this, you have multiple empty lots, and rezoning manufactured homes can be placed and will increase the surrounding property values. But when you already have established home neighborhoods full of stick-built houses, allowing one single manufactured home will decrease everyone's property values. And being so heavily educated in the trades and allowing a manufactured home coming in instead of being a stick-built house just doesn't sit right with me. Thank you.
They are required to make it, and I'm not a planner, but they cannot keep it as a,
Yeah, when we made the definition change for the residential manufactured housing, it does require it to be on a permanent foundation, and it does require them to list it as real property. And I know that some of the foundations that they provide are drawn up by the FHA so that they can get that type of loan instead of an automobile loan. So they are required to file it with the courthouse and change the way that they title it as proper real estate.
Well, generally what they do, just to segue off of that, is they will surrender the title to the state of Oklahoma, to the Oklahoma Tax Commission, and it is no longer titled like a vehicle or a chattel mortgage, and then that is reported to whatever tax authority, in this case Garfield County assessor and treasurer, will change that over to a permanent structure.
What were to happen if you got partway through this process, the house is dropped in there, and the porch never gets put on? What happens?
That's a great question. This is the first one that would happen in this scenario, so that would be a great legal question for us to consider.
Well, I think for starters, we'd send them a notice and tell them that they need to do the porch. Now, whether we have enforcement capability or not, I don't know.
we have enforcement capability, and they have indicated that they would put the porch on.
You have an idea about, I don't know if the people that have filed the application are here.
They are.
Some idea about what kind of cost are you talking about for this particular manufactured home? We talking about 80 to 150,000? That range somewhere?
That particular one is 109.
109? And that's not including getting it there? And you got to spend,
Yeah, that's included.
well, that's part of it? That include the foundation and all that as well? Setting it up?
Well, figured in with the foundation, all the site work for them, whatever the actual cost to us will be $115,000.
Okay.
Does that include the porch?
No, well, I'm doing the board.
Do you have a perspective of the time frame to complete the porch as a build as represented here? Is there a time frame the city would include before a certificate of occupancy is issued, or how's that handled?
What we agreed with the property owner is that once the house was delivered and set up, that we would give them a permit, and we would like that porch to be built within 60 days. Is that what we're talking about?
So they would have a conditional ability to live in the house while they are building the porch. And then
Yes.
they would get an official CO.
Yeah, in essence.
Just for clarification, Scott, it's not in the packet, but this home would not be on a slab. This home would be with stem wall and interior piers. So, just for both parties to, and the panel to understand, it would certainly meet the requirements that were voted a couple of months ago in regard to what the definition is. It has to be either or. But this particular one, this first one, is steel beam construction, which would be attached to the piers, to the exterior stem wall and then interior piers within that. In regard to, and I'm assuming the diagram's not very specific, but going back to her suggestion with animals and so forth and so on, it looks like there would be like a solid, whether it be steel or wood, either way, but you really wouldn't be able to tell it's sitting on piers. It would just look like a racewood floor.
According to our definition, it will have perimeter. Now, these houses do have crawl spaces, and so.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like any,
It's like a stick shift.
yeah.
It's required to have, didn't you just tell me the other day, concrete or running block?
That's what he was talking about, stem walls. So it'd either be a continuous foundation or that concrete block,
So there shouldn't be any openings. The openings should
Other
be
than-
either than vents
other than
or,
ventilation.
They're putting in the driveway. The driveway was removed when the old house was, they're putting in a driveway.
The applicant is here for any questions, and as we've discussed with them, this would be the first one, and they recognize that this would be the first one, and they at least don't have any intentions to set a bad example, because we all know that doing this the wrong way, this body's not gonna probably be taking chances if we have some that don't follow through with what we're asking them to do.
Well,
so.
just a real general question. Is there anything that we're trying to do here that goes against the ordinance that was passed? Are we trying to do anything extra or different or?
No, we're not, but, I mean, the reason that this is, the overlays don't have to come to this body. They just come get their building permits, and so it's going to be a case-by-case basis for this body to determine if this particular location in R4 fits with this style of construction. So that's why we're here tonight, and we're telling you they meet all of the ordinance qualifications. It's just whether or not the use and the location works for this committee.
I would ask you or the applicant, does the improvement face the street? Meaning the front door faces the street, the porch? Okay, so it's not gonna be set in there sideways like at a trailer park?
no.
Okay.
but that is one thing with a PUD
Yeah.
that they do have the option of doing that's different from what was passed, I believe, but they're not
Right.
doing that.
Well, and I'm trying to look at what we're presented here, and I wanted to
Page
verify.
17 has a little bit of a drawing there
Yeah, and
that
that's what I was trying to
kind of
verify.
indicates how it's going to set
My eyes were
on the lots according to the street and the alley.
yeah, thank you.
So this is anchored to the stem wall, so that's part of the process. It's attached securely to the poured stem wall, so it's not going to be unstable.
Yes.
It's required to be on a permanent foundation,
Which is
so
the-
same as a stick built,
The
right?
piers is gonna be where it's more, the stem walls to keep the rodents out and such. But those,
Any concrete footers?
Yeah.
Like my house is, mine's poured 12 inches wide, 20 inches deep.
yes, it'll have to match the report of the piers.
And those will be
Footings that we're
attached,
talking
so
about.
in tornadoes or that type of, they're attached, so there's a better
Match
chance
tie
of
downs.
minimizing damage.
Yeah, the manufacturer statements of tie downs will be met.
Part of the definition of this too, You might recall, if there is any running gear that comes on it, they're taking all of that off when they set the home.
And generally, the county is going to make you remove any axles or any of that kind of stuff in the tongue. When it becomes, in today's age, maybe not 30 or 40 years ago, but today you are required to remove the tongue and the axles out from underneath of it, so that remains with the property.
They own the house next to it, and they've owned the property for a long time.
Okay, commissioners, any more questions?
I have one more. And I appreciate the photograph, do you know what type of siding you'll have on your home? Is it like cement board, or is it wood, or
Why
is
don't
it
you come on
vinyl?
up and answer the questions, and Scott, you defer to the applicant.
We did receive a build sheet from their builder that has all of these, I don't know how many pages long that the specs were, but it listed out the types of material, the pitch of the roof. I looked at it to make sure that the type of shingle material matched what the ordinance says, and that the pitch matched what our ordinance says, and they do. So does their siding. I don't remember what the color or the material is.
I don't remember what it is.
I can certainly get the information and send it to you later.
Just curious, I mean, the board is being asked since it's not in one of the two overlays, to consider at least the blending of the existing neighborhood. I was just simply, it was really more curiosity than anything else.
It would be helpful if you guys know that, to let the board know now, if you do. If
Okay.
you don't, then just tell them you don't.
Okay, I can actually call the manufacturer and find out.
And if you'll drive down Spruce, I think it's somewhat typical to have siding on the houses in that neighborhood.
A back porch on this residence as well, Scott, or steps, or permanent steps?
There's no requirement in our ordinance for a back porch. They did draw one in, and they would like to build a back
Yeah,
porch.
there will be a back porch.
But just permanent steps for sure.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We've all gone out and looked at the neighborhood and walked around and checked for what it's worth. It looked like a good location and a good PUD, and they're doing everything that we want so that it will assist other people in knowing what is possible with a manufactured house. We don't have any, and the ones that we have are very, very old, and they look significantly different.
I believe, because it says here. Make a recommendation to the mayor.
And I would like to add that I think this would bring beauty to the neighborhood, because a lot of the houses that are over there are just, a lot of them need to be torn down. So I think this might initiate people to actually, take pride in their neighborhood, because that's what I would like to do. So. And he's making a phone call now to find out about that siding, so.
This would be an action that we'd be looking for a recommendation to the mayor and
Right.
board.
So it'll go on to council after here.
Yes. You're still in the hearing?
Go ahead and move now, or you want to wait for him to?
I think.
I'd go ahead and move,
Make a
that we
decision.
approve it.
This is just
I
a
don't
hearing. Is there a
care if it's
separate
got
item, or is it-
siding or not.
No, it's just a question, Dave.
Yeah, but I would move that we approve it.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Who?
I'll second.
You're seconded?
Yeah.
I have a motion and a second to approve the, really, it's just a PUD overlay, correct? For the manufactured home. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that is unanimous. Okay. Okay, item number 2 is to hold a public hearing and consider a request to rezone the property located at 1301 North Jackson Street from R4 residential duplex or two-family dwelling district to a C3 general commercial district, and make a recommendation to the mayor and board of commissioners.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
Bear with me, this is my first. So there was a typo on the agenda item. It was listed as R2, but it is R4. And we made sure that it had the R4 correct on the postings and everything like that. 1301 was joined with the other 4 properties into one solid property. And then they just wanted to rezone it to C3 for whenever he ends up passing away. So just leave it for the family, or if he decides to sell it. We do have a representative here for the property, and all of it is owned by Gene Cummings. Oh, and it does match, it wouldn't be spot zoning because the properties below are industrial and the properties to the north, I believe, are C3 as well.
To the west.
Up to the west, sorry.
This is immediately north of Hughes Lumber and behind to the east of Jack's Outdoors additional lot.
Yes. Oh, I got another one.
Is there a stated reason why they want to do that, why they want to have it rezoned? Is there business or something they want to put in, or?
Yeah, I'm here for Mr. Cummings. I don't think he has any exact plan at this time. He's 93 years old. I think he wants to just get his, everything in order for his children, and that type of thing. But, so he was just wanting to make it one parcel. And like I said, it is consistent with the use in that neighborhood. And so he's just asking for approval of that.
Was it previously common ownership?
He's owned it for quite some time. I mean, he's bought them, and I think, I couldn't tell you the number of years, David, but.
I talked to him today, and he thinks it was sometime in the late 70s and maybe like the early 80s. But he's owned it all that time, and he told me he was just trying to ready things for the next generation.
Right, correct.
Very nice man.
He is.
If I may, I have something to add to that, please.
Sure.
Are you Scott Morris?
No, I'm Dalton.
I'm Scott.
Oh, okay, if you're Scott, okay, I spoke to you on the phone.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Please state your name.
My name is Christy Hale, Hale.
Okay.
I live in Block 12. This is Block 11 that they're speaking of. We bought property there in 1980, so we lived there 44 years. We bought the property across the street. We built our own home. We'd be more in favor of keeping that residential. There is water, sewer, and street access on that whole block for 4, maybe possibly 5 houses. And it said that it's wanted to make a commercial parking lot to access like Enid concrete trucks and/or heavy equipment, which is going to be a noise factor in the neighborhood, and is also going to create more traffic in the neighborhood also. It was a nice, quiet, and I realize that Jack's has been there forever and Hughes Lumber has been there forever, but they're not traveling right through the neighborhood. So we would prefer you take into consideration the residents in the neighborhood and just keep it residential, not have any more commercial areas in the middle of the neighborhood.
Can you tell me exactly where is it that you live in relation to the subject property?
That's Block 11, lots 13 through 24. We're in Block 12, and I own blocks 15 through 19. We have 5 lots.
Is that to the east or west or north or
East.
to the east?
To the east? And you said you have 5 blocks or 5 lots?
5 lots. LOTS, lots. With the home that we built on that lot, those lots.
You're right across the street.
That, yes, mhm.
What block was it again?
Lot 12, we are.
So you're actually closer to the entrance of Enid Concrete then?
That's a block east of where we are. They come out of Enid Concrete, go straight across Monroe,
In this one?
go to Poplar, and then go east or west. They don't access our road. And they just resurfaced Birch,
So there's some,
which has no truck access on it.
there are some other
Well,
lots in between.
They're not supposed to, but,
You're right.
and that hasn't been resurfaced since 1980. This is the first time.
That's a commercial for the City of Enid Street Department getting it done. Thank you for coming to the meeting and telling us that.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But I think anybody would prefer to keep their neighborhood residential, not have any more commercial businesses.
So this,
Or-
this property is not adjacent to Enid Concrete?
So your address is off 17th?
No,
You're in the wrong.
What's your address?
it's 1309 North Quincy.
Quincy?
Uh-huh, yes.
We can have Kent pull up GIS.
How far away are you from this property?
It's basically a half a block
You're in,
across the street, and then the next block over. So I have a half a block.
looks like the alley separates you
Right.
between,
There's-
the alley is the eastern border of this property, and the alley is your western border?
No. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, this was,
The way I'd have to- That alley's gonna run north and south.
Right, mhm, yes.
This
That's-
property's on the
that's-
west
yeah.
of the alley,
We're
you're
west of
in
it.
the alley,
So there is a row of
in that
houses.
same block.
Yeah, there is a row of houses, but on, past the alley is gonna be, the whole thing is gonna be a parking lot for commercial vehicles. And then you have backup noises or your backup alarms on trucks and heavy equipment. And there'll be a noise factor, a nuisance factor. We just appreciate your consideration. Again, for the residents who've been there 44 years.
what is the use of the property between you and this subject property? There's a bunch of lots there, so are those houses or is that
There
commercial?
used to be, there was 1, 2, 3, there was 4 houses there.
And so what's there now, or what's the use of it?
Nothing. No one ever rebuilt.
And
The
do you
house
know-
to the
And do we know if that's commercial or residential
residential.
across from the alley?
In that same lot?
Yeah.
So it's R4, and then R4. I think that's what they're.
The house to the north of us has just been,
Yeah, so up here on the map, so, yeah, I guess the property, I say to the east, to the right, that's zoned for still residential?
Yeah. That's that R4.
If you want to use that to help point out.
Yeah, I see R4, so.
well, you do.
All of those
It's
in
not
there.
mine.
They're all
It's all
R4.
residential right now.
So are you right there?
This is helping me a little bit.
Well, I can't see. I mean, I guess, I mean, that says R4.
I think she's to the right on Quincy.
Okay.
She's gotta be right in.
I'm right in the middle of the block on Quincy.
Yeah.
When you go on that side of the street or on the other side?
I'm on the east side of the street.
ever build a house there.
Yeah, she's on the east side of Quincy.
But they could put a business there.
We have 5 lots there.
He's been there a long time.
Is your house the last house that was built in that area?
Yes, because we built it.
I understand that. Is it the last house, has there been any building of houses or R4 recently in this area?
The house to the north of me on the corner, they've completely remodeled that house.
Okay, but it was an existing house.
I mean, completely remodeled it. It's all been upgraded. I'm sorry, there's too many Scots here. I didn't know which Scott.
I think Mr. Cummings used to tinker
Scott.
off lawnmowers.
Okay.
I hate to be the slow one in the group, but could you use your clicker and identify the lots we're looking at and then where her home is, please?
Okay. So my understanding so far is these are the lots that are in question to be rezoned.
Yes,
And that you live on the east side of Quincy right here?
right.
So she's just,
She is a half a block off then.
And where's the concrete plant?
this is I-3 all to the south.
That's Hughes, and then
Where's the driveway to Enid Concrete, Scott?
I'll have to zoom out on this thing.
It's to the east of it.
It's to the east. There, you can see it.
Trucks are at.
Okay, okay, I'm with you, okay.
Okay, and it's one resident.
Is there any other public input or any more questions?
Are the 1311, 1307, and 1301, looks like there are buildings there, are those houses?
There's two houses and a building. Sorry.
Are they, and I assume they're vacant, or are there people, tenants living in them?
There's tenants in
There's
there.
tenants.
They have 2 houses and 2 sheds, actually. Yeah, Mike Roberts, I believe there's 2 houses and 2 sheds, and there are renters in there. I mean, I would say that Mr. Cummins, I've been over there, but he's probably, I drive by quite often, and he always keeps them in great shape, and like I said, we said before, this is more of a generational thing to prepare it and to keep it in one parcel. But if you drive around that whole area, I mean, there's the concrete, Hughes Lumber, Jack's, and other businesses all along that, the west side of that property, so.
Also, let me interject though, but this is moving into the neighborhood because to the west, to the north, there's houses. To the east, there's houses. Of course, there's not to the west of these blocks, but that's moving into the commercial area.
And then to the southeast, we also have I-2 in C3.
Did we receive a protest?
No.
No, I haven't.
But it is a hearing. She's showing up for the hearing.
Yes, but
I don't understand. Was I supposed to protest? I called and talked to Scott. I asked him questions about when I received the letter, and he said I could come to the meeting. There was a protest involved. I'm not aware of that. I wasn't informed.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? I do not have a second. Going once, going twice, and that motion dies for the second. Do I hear any other motions? I'm going to have a motion to deny.
I move that we deny.
Do I have a second for that?
Second.
I have a motion and second to deny. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Mark that, we had one opposed. All righty. Plats, consider approval of a final plat for the South Creek Edition, lots 1 through 4, a replat of lots 4 and 5 of the Commercial Tracts Edition to the City of Enid, located in the southwest quarter of Section 18, Township 22 North, range west, 6 west of the Indian Meridian. Yes, sir.
All right, we've already seen this and done quite a bit of work on this one. This one, just for a brief overview, south of Enid High School along Moore Street. That property there was a preliminary plat, was looked at and approved by this body September 18th of '23. It went on to council, and that zoning was approved on October the 3rd. Since then, the developer has finished building the private streets. He's put in his own water and sewer mains. Those have been pressure tested to my knowledge. And then we are building a city main along Moore currently. If you'll drive down Moore, you can't drive down it very well. We're finishing up a city project that will benefit the entire neighborhood. And last week when I drove through, they were just about at the T where they're connecting into this, and just as soon as they get on the other side of that, we'll do all of our DEQ testing, and we'll be good with that. So the applicant has built the necessary features that he needs to build. I think he's still working on some drainage, but we're at the point to take it before you to look at this final plat and approve it. We've assigned all of the addresses to it. So he's ready to close this up and start his first funding and build his first block of homes. Any questions I can answer?
I move we approve.
Second.
Motion been made, second, we approve. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Those opposed? And that's unanimous. And last one is consider approval of a lot split application submitted by Jason Wagner for property located at 1204 West Southgate Road.
All right, this is a good story here. This is a man on Southgate here, that he owns the property to the, on the west side of the lot there. You can see where the line is drawn in, the red line. That's the section that he wants to sell to the property owner to the east. The property owner to the east, those are his cars. He's already utilizing that. He's been renting that from the owner. And when we originally got the application in, they wanted to create an additional parcel. And after looking at it as a team, what we discovered was that they really didn't intend or didn't want a third parcel. They just wanted to sell off one portion of it and give it to the neighbor on the east. And so we worked with the surveyor and actually had them redraw some of the work that they had done and make legal descriptions for both property owners with the new parcel. So instead of an additional parcel being created, it's still just two parcels with that new property going to the property owner on the east. So it's really a lot line adjustment, but it's a lot split. So
You all recommend, there's nothing that you're aware of that would prohibit our...
that is why we changed it up, because it would make a non-conforming lot if we allowed that third lot to be in. It wouldn't meet the size requirement, and then the parent lot wouldn't have access to utilities like it should. And so we had them...
Just shifting it over and...
Instead of 3 lots, it's 2. They're just shifting the line over.
So the owner to the east owns that lot and some additional?
So-
How large is the remaining lot?
The remaining lot there, you can see it's 204 on the bottom, 212 on the top, and 140. So I'm not going to try to do that math, but it meets the minimum requirement for this zoning.
I move to approve.
Second.
You got a whole bunch of seconds. Okay, we got
And we'll
Cole
give
as
it
a
to
second.
Cole.
With the left side, right side.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and that's unanimous. And now I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. So moved. I have a motion to adjourn, second. Second. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Those opposed, and we are adjourned.